In UK cost of living crisis, some workers struggle to feed children. When her two sons ask for snacks she can no longer afford, Aislinn Corey, a preschool teacher in London, lays down a blanket on the floor and plays the picnic game. She takes an orange or an apple collected from her preschool's food bank and slices it in thirds to be shared. "We do it as an activity," she said, "so they don't know that mummy is struggling." She says dinners are often reduced to pasta, and she sometimes skips the meal entirely so there is more food for her children. As the cost of grocery shopping and heating homes have hit records in recent months, the signs of distress are everywhere. The BBC has published dozens of online recipes costing less than £1, or about $1.23, per portion. Some schools have turned down their heaters, and many communities have opened warm spaces, heated public rooms for people with cold homes. But in Britain, one of the world's richest countries, among the most shocking signs of the cost of living crisis is that a growing number of workers are struggling to feed their children. Some are heading to food banks for the first time. "It's atrocious that it's working people who are coming to us," said Vicky Longbone, a church minister who runs a food bank in Derby, in central England. For the hardest hit working families, the crisis has been long in the making. Employment growth has left Britain with fewer out-of-work households, but many of those who found work still did not reach a decent standard of living, which left them vulnerable when inflation hit a 41-year high a few months ago, and wages failed to keep up. Austerity measures under a decade of conservative-led governments have also eaten away at the benefits paid to many low-income families, including working households. Since 2016, Britain has had one of the highest minimum wages in the world for most workers, benefiting some of the lowest earners. But many of them still cannot find enough hours of work, and the income of low earners has grown more slowly in Britain than in some other Western countries including Germany and France. "It is harder because the past 10 years have been so awful," said Greg Thwaites, an economist at the Resolution Foundation, an independent research institute focused on living standards. Then, in October, consumer prices surged 11.1% from a year earlier. With energy and food costs driving the inflation, lower income families, who spend a larger share of their income on essentials, were disproportionately hit. The rises slowed slightly in December, but consumer prices were still up more than 10% compared with a year earlier. Although some key statistics are not yet available, including the latest annual figure for child poverty, there are clear signs that many workers, including working parents, are under serious strain, as well as growing evidence that children are going hungry at home. While the proportion of working families relying on food banks remains very small, they are now a noticeable slice of food bank users. The Trussell Trust, which operates food pantries across the country and recorded more than 300,000 new users in the first half of last year, said that a fifth of its clients in mid-2022 came from households with someone in work. In London, the Hackney Food Bank provided meals for 647 children in December, up from 330 a year earlier. Some schools have started providing free meals for every student, not just those who qualify for them through the welfare system. And a headmaster in a deprived area of the city said that more children and their parents had started relying for their breakfast on the free